All right. ¿Cómo estás? Kamusta, Chef Jello? How
Muy
are
bien,
you?
muy bien. How are you?
Ah, también, también. I'm doing well, my friend. I'm doing well, my friend. It's a pleasure to finally touch base. Alam ko na we have been following each other for quite some time online, no? Especially, of course, I'm following you on TikTok because that's really how I think you really nag-breakout ka talaga, no? And of course, in relation to that, marami tayong pag-usapan, a little bit more spicy. Hindi naman bardagulan, but interesting stuff later on. O, bahala ka na mag-spill ng beans or spill ng anong bang pwede mo i-spill dyan sa kitchen mo. But before that, Chef Jello, of course, I'm sure many of our followers are very familiar with you, especially because of your TikTok work. But please, can you tell us a little bit about your background first? This is what I do even with senators and cabinet members. So it's just part of the format of how I do podcasts. Long form yan. So don't worry, hindi lang pa cute. I really want a proper discussion here over the next, let's say, hopefully 30 to 45 minutes at least, no? But that means that in the future, babalikan ulit kita and hopefully, who knows, you have other projects in mind. Di ba, Chef?
Sure,
Unless
bring
you
it
want to block
on.
me after this after this podcast. So we have live, by the way, live feed on the sides para lang yung mga ating mga followers, Kameta, among others, can also give in their suggestions or comments. Yung mga marites dyan, pwede sila mag-follow up sa'yo. But in the meantime, let's go and let's ask you. So, who is Chef Jello?
Wow.
An
Well,
existential question. No.
very,
Can you
very
give me
existential.
chronological muna? Mamaya na existential, philosophical. Chronological. How did this
So,
begin?
for the longest time, I was doing corporate job. I was part of the training industry. I'm a training professional. So ginawa ko yun for about 10
Human
years.
Relations Department, HR,
Learning and development.
Learning and Development. Okay.
Learning and development. So I used to do accent neutralization training, organizational development, ganyan.
Wow! Sige
And
na
then
nga.
operate
Anong accent? French accent? Parisien?
neutral English. So
Ayan naman. Oh, wow! So,
yeah, so yung mga common Filipino, like glitches in accent, for example, the in pronunciation, PNFs, BNVs, your tense and lax vowels, your cap, cop, cup, yung mga ganyan. So I
subject-verb
did that
agreement,
for,
prepositions, yung for and to, medyo nagkakamali
yeah,
din.
kasama yun.
Napansin ko yan, yeah.
And my last stint in the corporate industry was in a US healthcare company.
Don't worry, you don't
But
have to drop names. Yeah, just
yeah.
generic is fine. Yeah,
So, but ever since I grew up in a family of good cooks, we pride ourselves for, you know, always using quality ingredients. And then, laman ako ng kusina with my great-grandmother, my grandmother, ganyan. Bata pa lang ako, I get to see them cook, like, what do you call it? Pochero, ganyan, kare-kare.
Right.
My grandmother's version of
Is this a Bulakenyo kind of food or anything Filipino?
it is Filipino Castilla kind of food. Yan.
Kasi yan. No
Kasi mga
Catalan, Valencian. Okay. That's good. That's
Talos,
good.
ganyan. Like my lola's leche flan, I would always say this. She uses duck eggs. She doesn't chicken
Parang
eggs,
Chinese.
duck eggs.
Pagka-Chinese yung style na ganun. Oh, by the way, chef, of course, makikita ng tao eventually. What are you wearing there, Jello? Oh, is that who are you wearing? Sinong designer?
Oh, who am I wearing? I'm
Yeah.
wearing Happy Habby. You can check them out on Instagram. Happy Habby wearable weaves. So this is a chef's jacket. This weave right here is an Inabel from Bontoc Mountain Province.
Okay.
And this right here, it's here is an Inaul from Maguindanao. So it is I call this jacket pagsusumika because you see the two weaves, right? It's from the north, it's from the south, and then this is denim. traditionally denim is 'di ba, invented for the miners and for the working class before.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
for the working Filipino from the north to the south of the Philippines. So this is pagsusumikap.
I know I'm digressing, but Jello, did you come up with the design? Like, how did this come about?
No, the owner of Happy Habby
Mhm.
said, okay, let me surprise you with the design. But I just
Ah,
said that it should, I'd like it to represent the Philippines as a whole.
right,
Maybe
right,
maybe the flag or maybe whatever. And then intelligently, she chose fabrics from Mountain Province and Maguindanao. By the way, Inabel is the traditional cloth from the north, and
right,
Inaul would be the Mindanao version.
right. So it's kind of a melange, montage, mosaic kind of approach. I use all the M words there.
Or
And
mixture.
it's just
Para
the
simple.
yeah, it's just the chamomile tea. Sorry. Um, wow, that's interesting. Parang kailangan ko rin yata ng ganun, no? Now, how did you become kind of? I mean, you're a professional chef, right? So you transition from corporate world to
Yes.
becoming the artist slash chemist slash content, creator that you are. How did that happen? Like, did you feel a sense of emptiness? Ano yun, my moment of epiphany ka ba? Or like, try nga natin to. I mean, because of course, the corporate world gives you, stability, right? And you're a family man, right? For those who don't know. So how did that transition happen?
So it was 2015. As a training supervisor, I supervised classes with trainers. And there was a point that it was about 16 to 18 concurrent training classes that I had to monitor, that I had to
Wow, that's a
really
lot.
oversee.
Correct, correct.
So for my sanity's sake, I said I needed to do something. And
Different.
I was
Yeah.
thinking this something must be a thing that could be my fallback if I just would wanna forget being in the corporate world. So
Yeah.
I said, okay, maybe because it's in my blood,
Yeah.
then I took up culinary from the Center for Culinary Arts Manila. I was working and studying at the same time. So imagine my schedule,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I had two courses. I had my foundations in culinary arts and baking and pastry. For baking and
Sinabay mo yung
pastry,
dalawa. So how
yes,
was your schedule? Like you're working 8 to 5 and then at night? How was that?
I work 9 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Uh-huh.
So here's
Wow.
my schedule on a Friday to Saturday because my baking class is on a Saturday. So I
Yeah.
will wake up Friday at 7 p.m. or 6 p.m.,
Right.
go to work. So at 9, I'm at work. And then until the following day, 6 a.m., I'll take a nap for about an hour.
Power naps.
And then, go to class at 9 a.m. We'll finish by 5 p.m. on a Saturday. So it's
Wow.
almost 24 hours that I'm awake. And then I would get home by 7. Then that's the only time that I'm gonna sleep. But
Jeez. Mm.
when you really wanted to do something and
Yeah.
when you're set to doing something, these hardships and like these inconveniences wouldn't matter so much. I mean, of course, at that time, I was like, ayan, ang
Bata
yabang
ka
mo
pa nun,
kasi.
exactly. I mean, let's be honest. That's not something you can pull off in your 40s, 50s. Yeah.
Right. Hindi
Right.
kasi 'di ba parang, ayan, ang
Exactly.
yabang mo kasi, pinagsabay mo yung dalawang course,
Yeah,
nagtatrabaho ka
exactly.
pa, pagod ka na. But, ano when you get tired, then the fuel that would take you to the end of the day is really, at gusto mo ba yung ginagawa mo now, gano'n.
Yeah.
So then natapos. So nasa corporate world pa rin ako. Pero nagsuma-sideline na ako. Ang
Yeah.
una kong nalinya talaga ako
Yes
sa
na,
food,
aminan na.
sa cooking
Kailangan.
demonstration.
Right.
Ang una kong gig was, I have a high school classmate who owns a small marketing company. May
Right.
magbubukas na grocery store na parang yung malaking grocery store sa
Correct, correct.
Kabanatuan. Sabi niya, hey, yung kliyente ko, which is a food item,
Right.
gusto may mag-demo. yung
2016?
product nila.
What is the time frame again? 2016 ba to?
2016.
20... Ay, Tatay Digong. Okay. All right, go ahead. Elections. Okay. For me kasi it matters. The context,
Yes.
everything, right? The zeitgeist. Yeah, okay. So 2016, eto na. Eto na yung chance mo to go pro. Yeah.
Oo, so nagdemo, ganyan, nagdemo-demo, tas okay naman, parang sabi ko, sa akin parang it comes naturally talaga eh. Like speaking in front of people, being on
Right.
stage. I'm at home on stage. So sabi ko I can do this as in no sweat, ganon. Tapos I was sent by my company to the United States to open up some businesses there. Tapos may nakilala ako doon sa para siyang dating chemical engineer and now he's
Puerto Rico ba to? Puerto Rico?
Puerto Rico and mainland state in mainland US.
Right.
Tapos nag-ano siya, food truck.
Right.
Sabi niya, okay siya. So, syempre, in my mind, ayoko namang i-romanticize kasi syempre, first world sila, third world tayo, hindi ganun kadaling mag-quit ng trabaho. However, meron kasi akong deathbed questions for myself. Like, if I were on my deathbed, I'm like 85 years old, would I regret not doing something? If the answer is yes, gagawin ko na. So,
that's a good way.
Exactly 1 week after I went back to the Philippines, I handed my resignation and luckily, alam mo, the universe and aligns and the stars align
for you, yeah.
May kumausap sa akin to get me as a head cook for a steakhouse.
Right.
Sabi ko, okay. And then from there, yun na. I became a practicing cook talaga in the kitchen. Tapos I was part of some opening teams for cafes and restaurants.
Right.
Nagde-demo na ako for brands and for food expos. Nagko-consultancy sa mga cafes. Tapos pandemic happened, wala akong ginagawa. So sabi ko, dun sa mga nauna kong sponsors, sabi ko, oy, penging ingredients, magluluto ako para sa mga frontliners. And then they heeded the call. And then February 4 of 2021, I did my first cooking video in TikTok. Parang pumatok. So nagkaroon ng traction.
Wait lang, before we go to your influencer world. By the way, shout out rin ako sa cousin ko na chef Marco, is based in Ibiza, actually in España. Thanks actually to my cousin Marco, I got to know more about the world of cooking and all. Of course, I'm one of the fans of the Anthony Bourdains of this world. I've been following the whole food, lifestyle, love, all that eat, pray, love kind of literature for quite some time as a thinker. Pero gusto ko nang balikan because I'm a little bit familiar about how my cousin Marco made it through the ranks until he became a chef of a restaurant in Ibiza, Spain, and hopefully we can all talk to each other more in the future. But I wanted to ask, in your case, mahal ba mag-aral dun sa culinary school? And how is it? Is it like as stressful as they say, yung mga sinusulat ni Anthony Bourdain na sisigawan ka ng yung chef, tapos yung, alam mo yun, parang how should I put it? It's like parang yung mga cooking shows, no? Mga Ramsay show. How is it?
Very
Can you tell us
intense.
something about it without undermining your institutional linkages and friendships?
No, it's I think because there is a culture of excellence and precision in the kitchen that our chefs would like students to actually imbibe, to actually get used to, and to be part of the daily life, of their daily lives in the kitchen. I think that's it coming from that yung tipong, kasi para siyang theater performance, you cannot explain to your audience. Once your food is on the plate and it's out there and it's on the table, hindi mo naman pwedeng i-explain bakit may buhok. Hindi ka pwedeng mag-explain bakit maalat. Right? Ibig sabihin, of course you can, but I mean, it's done. It's done. It's already on the table. Hence, there's that very, I would say, very rigid stance when it comes to quality, to
Right.
standard, to kung ano yung plating, ganyan. Kasi syempre, kunwari, pare-pareho kayo ng in-order, you would wanna see the
Right.
same itsura and the same taste in the food. So there's
Certain, yeah, standard.
consistency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm gonna push you more on this, no? Before tayo pupunta sa content creation, and then of course you joining the Lenny campaign, we'll talk about that, and of course also with Senator Kiko among others. Before going there, because I think that's a very important section in itself, but I want to focus more on the cooking part. So, the reason why I'm asking you this question is because recently we saw the announcement that Noma, no, Michelin star, 3-star, by some accounts led by the best chef in the world, no? I'm talking about Rene Recepi. I don't know if pronouncing his I think Croatian name properly. So it's closing down, and according sa kanya, it's just so stressful and the whole business is unsustainable. So I have two questions here, no, right away, no. So it's a challenge kita on this. Not confrontational way, because I really am interested in getting your view. The first thing is, where do you draw the line? Paano mo masabi na abusive na itong industriya, may exploitation na nangyari, versus no, excellence comes at a cost, and that means full commitment. Parang, alam mo yung movie na Whiplash, yung to be the best drummer, like you have to go through the whole, because this is a big debate, because many would argue it's just part of the, it comes with the territory, diba? Having semi-tyrannical chef is a part of grooming the next generation, or nurturing the next generation of top level, right? And it's like samurai, almost samurai level. Some other people are saying hindi, medyo nasa exploitative level na, and the working conditions for those at the bottom, you know what I'm talking about, is sometimes unjustifiable, exploitative now. So against that background, including the closing of some of the people that Rene trained, no, and who went to the US around. So now the world's most awarded chef, or number one chef based on some accounts, Rene Recepi, is now looking at closing Noma by 2024, and siguro ang gagawin na lang niya is magiging creative director na lang siya. He's going to be essentially a kind of a culinary gastrochemist, no? Now, in light of that, I just want to ask you, what is your stance on this issue? And then the second one is, bakit wala pang Michelin star restaurants of Philippines, and what should we do about it, right? Now, so you can go nationalist, Philippine diplomacy, whatever on this, but can we go to the first question first? So without, again, compromising anyone or name dropping or anything like that, can you tell me something about the first question I raised?
So,
you didn't see that coming, no? Hindi mo na-expect yan, sorry.
So where do I draw the line, no?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's truth in what you said about really kitchen life is draining, right?
Yeah.
I always say this to aspiring cooks and aspiring chefs, that the thing that you see on TV is very glamorized. Yeah, but imagine standing for 9 hours in front of the heat of fire, ganyan, with talsik-talsik, with even before you cook, you prep, diba? You slice, you prep all the ingredients, you do your mise en place, and nothing is done sitting down.
Right.
Everything is done standing up, right? So, yun pa lang, isa na yan sa challenge na overlook ng marami, na parang second, the temperature in the kitchen. Not all kitchens are created equal, right? There would be kitchens that would have good exhaust system, that would have good air conditioning system. Not all kitchens have that, right?
Right.
So in terms of working conditions, also kadalasan dyan you get, lalo na kapag super, eto pa, ang holiday ng normal na tao, hindi holiday ng kusinero. So, imagine mo Mother's Day, Father's Day, graduation, New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, lahat ng pamilya magkakasama, ikaw nasa kusina. Kaya mo ba yun? Yun ang isa sa tanong sa mga gusto mag-kusinero. Yung makikita mo na lahat sila magkakasama, enjoying themselves, ikaw grinding in the kitchen, right? Lalabas ka with your family after the holidays of everyone else, ganyan. Tapos, uuwi ka, for example, big deal sa atin ang New Year, putukan, hindi ba? Ng 12 pauwi ka pa lang nun,
Right.
nasa
So you
kalsada ka
you
nun.
miss the biggie.
So, tas
Yeah.
kapag may dinner service or lunch service, walang break. Lalo
Right.
na kung wala kang relyebo. So,
Right.
tatapusin mo yon, and then, yung nakikita nating photos na mga cooks, chefs na nandun lang sa kitchen, sa tabi ng basurahan, kumakain on a bowl or sa takip ng kaldero, that
Right.
happens. Because you just want to eat so fast. You just
Right.
get it, you just want to get over it because meron ka pang covers na gagawin, no? May service pa.
Yeah.
May hiwa ka, no matter how long you've been doing it, mapapaso ka.
Yeah.
But where do I
Yung risk, no? Yung mga knives niya nakakatakot eh. Talagang pang samurai eh. I think one second. Na-disconnect yata. Chef, andyan ka ba? One second. I think na-disconnect ka. I think the problem, I'm not sure. Can you hear me, Chef?
Hello.
Yes, you
Yes,
were
I'm
saying.
here.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, you were
I was
saying.
saying, gone are the days of the tyrannical chefs. Why did I say that? Because right now, there is more, a lot more cooks have access to information. Hindi na lang kung ano ituturo ng mga chefs nila.
Correct, correct,
Ba?
correct.
The internet is the biggest equalizer that we have.
And
So
disruptor.
hindi
Yeah.
hindi mo na kailangan pumasok ng culinary school eh.
Right.
The value of a culinary school is that an institution is actually certifying that you have the basic skills to perform a certain job, right? But
Right.
if example, your goal is an entrepreneurial goal, then you can go ahead and put out your products even without going to culinary school. So ibig sabihin, I'm not saying that having a mentor chef or really a teacher, a culinary instructor it doesn't have value. It does, because there are techniques, there are tricks of the trade that they can actually share with you through the experience that they have, right? However, lalayasan ka ng kusinero mo ngayon kapag sobrang Hitler ka sa kusina, kapag tipong diktador ka.
Yeah.
Because maraming paraan para kumita ang kusinero.
Right.
There are online ordering systems that they can put their products out, 'di ba? They can be content creators. They can be collaborators. So, at syempre, with the changing times, there's the concept and importance of mental health, ganyan, 'di ba? Sabi, that chef closing down Noma, sabi niya, it's so stressful because totoo naman, when you are a head chef, you think from menu development so that's part of your R&D, and then procurement, where are you gonna source your, syempre, particular ka sa ingredients mo, saan mo iso-source, the plating, management of people, sorry, we have dogs.
No.
People management, staff, so lahat yun iisipin mo when you
so Jello, let's push on this. So you're saying that yung all this glorified sensei style chefs na will drag you through hell so that supposedly they bring you to the level of excellence. You think that era is over because na-expose rin yung mga excesses, no? Na-expose rin na hindi naman siguro kailangan na you go through hell to be really to be a great chef or cook. And that we have a new information landscape, right? Now you have many diverse sources to improve yourself. Para in short, bakit ka magpabugbog sa gym if you can perfect the technique by just simulating it yourself, right? And I'm MMA kind of a fan and person, because we see the rise of smart training, right? So back in the day, before ka mag-boxing, most likely 10 times ka na knockout dun sa sparring sessions mo pa lang. So by the time nandun ka na sa ring, medyo you're not the same, right?
Kabal ka
So
na.
now
Yeah.
they're doing it simulation. They're doing simulations, different kind of high intensity exercises, etc. Now, the reason I'm saying this, Chef, is because because we hear the older generation people saying, ayan na naman itong mga maarteng Gen Z at mga pa-woke na mga millennials na yan. And excuse lang nila yan para hindi duman sa hirap. Kaya they're going against so-called tyrannical chefs. But actually, these chefs are just strict disciplinarians. That's all they are. So what you're saying is that, no, it's not like that. No, it's really about empowerment of a new generation of people who are entering this industry.
Correct. And also, another perspective is, marami ng Pinoy na executive chefs. Dati, nung 90s, 80s, ang mga executive chefs sa mga hotels dito, puro Americans, Europeans. Syempre, they feel superior kasi expats sila na pinadala dito. Binunot sila ng mga hotels nila from wherever city in Europe they're from. And then there'd be, this Filipino, you chop your, diba? And now, ang dami ng executive chefs na Pinoy.
Ulitin mo, ano daw?
No.
Filipino. Yeah. So you're saying there was also some element of racism there. Let's just put it that way. Or superiority complex.
Yeah, I think it's more of a race superiority thing. Yeah. It's not so much of a kasi nga hindi naman tayo as advanced as them before. Right? If you have a French head chef, of course, mataas ang tingin niyan sa sarili niya dahil the French are the first ones to come up with standards of cooking from a brigade organization perspective. Sila naman ang nag-ano niyan eh. But now marami ng Pinoy na executive chefs nakapagtrabaho abroad. So there's more connect in terms of the culture, in terms of how you will run your kitchen according to the sensitivities of your cooks, ganyan. Kasi sila, wala naman silang pakialam kung naka-offend sila eh. Diba? There are stories wherein pag mali ka, pipitsarahan ka ng chef mo, papauwiin ka. But now, no more. I don't think, unless siguro talagang you're an a-hole in the kitchen, ayaw mong sumunod, knowing that, and it impedes and it impedes the function, the functioning. Kasi syempre, a kitchen is like it's like a factory. What do you call that?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
It's kind of like that.
May isang palpak, the whole process is gonna be bogged down, and of course, there are people waiting out there. You have to impress them, etc. Yep. I mean, ako medyo na ako dun sa reality of the kitchen while watching. I don't know if you watch it, yung Boiling Point. It's a very very good movie done on Netflix, directed by Philip Barantini. It's really a nice one. It stars Stephen Graham among others. You really can see, I don't want to spoil the movie, but you see literally breaking point na mangyari dyan at some point, no? And that brings me to the other thing I want to talk about, no? Of course, Chef Jello, you're more like a, how should I put it? You're like you're someone who's popularizing a kind of a masa version of Filipino food. But let's talk about high cuisine, right? High culture cuisine and all, and the whole Michelin kind of cottage industry. Let's just put it that way. Of course, we see even developing countries like Peru, for instance. Many countries, Thailand, for instance, they're moving that direction. Of course, you have Tokyo, you have Denmark also moving that direction. Bakit sa Pilipinas wala pang Michelin star? And to begin with, what's your take on this Michelin star whole thing? Is this a kind of a scam? Is this like an overrated system? What's going on there? Is there kind of racism there? What's going on there?
Okay. So I think we have, for the sake of our listeners and our audience, ano ba yung Michelin star, di ba? Ito yung binibigay ng Michelin company. It's actually the tire company.
Tire company, yung mukha niya yung parang
parang ako, yung mascot, yung puting Honda Honda, gano'n.
Exactly. It's a tire guy there. Yeah, exactly.
So, sinasabi niya na parang pag 1 Michelin star okay yung food. Pag 2 Michelin star, the food and the ambiance. Pag 3 Michelin star, parang it should be a destination. Basta parang ganon.
Anong take mo sa
Hindi,
Michelin system na yan, the whole ranking systems?
in all ranking system,
May
the goal is to legitimize.
right, right.
Tama? In everything, the goal is to legitimize. For example, you took up masters. It legitimizes your field of that you're a master in that field of study.
Right,
You
right,
took your PhD. So, ganun yon. So, it's all about meron ka bang credence, meron ka bang kumbaga meron ka bang say. Ikaw ba talaga ay nararapat para sa
may
ganung
K ka, may K ka. Yeah.
may K ka. So, in general, yun ang sinasabi pag nagkaroon ka ng mga ganong ng Michelin star. Okay, so sa akin, ang pagtingin ko kasi, kasi ako, ang punto ko sa pagkain, hindi natin kailangan pakumplikaduhin ng mga bagay-bagay, lalo na ang pagkain. Kasi for me, food is very basic,
Right.
Basic in terms of, when I say basic, it carries history, it carries culture,
Right.
it carries shared experiences, it carries flavor in its most latent form. Ganyan. Yung tipong
Right.
hindi ako yung tamang tao para kausapin sa molecular gastronomy, mga
Right.
ganyan. Diba, my line is, I don't cook pretty, I cook delicious.
Yeah. You actually, yeah. Yep. I
Because,
remember.
and don't get me wrong, hindi naman dapat yung pagkain mo mukhang
Pangit.
suka
Not naman
ng pusa,
exactly.
di ba? But it has to be a marriage of, firm believer ako ng form, unity of form and content. Ganyan. So, yung form, yung itsura niya, yung content, yung lasa niya at yung ingredients.
Right.
Big believer ako ng unity no, na hindi na sacrifice yung isa because of the other one. Ganyan.
But can't you
So,
have both? Can't you have both, Jello? I mean, I get the point na ayaw mo ng for the gram, right? I mean, this is the problem we have. A lot of people go to a lot of restaurants because it's for the gram, no? Posh yung area, it's the name. I mean, there are people who spend thousands of dollars, to just go somewhere and say, ayan, nakapunta ako sa ganitong mga Michelin star na place, whether it's in San Francisco, whether it's in Copenhagen. It's a new thing, especially for the new rich of the world and the petit bourgeois. Kasi yung mga sobrang mayaman, may sarili na silang chef at home.
chef,
Next level na yung mga yan. No, but speaking of this, I don't know. I mean, can't you have both? I mean, because you remember especially Michelin star, yung mga next levels, 3 level, like Noma, for instance. One reason that they were very famous is because Rene made sure the ingredients really are sourced from the best possible places. So it's not just creative work into how good things look, but it's also about making sure the best ingredients get in the high quality one, that the nutritional value, the nutritional bang you get out of the box is worth it, not only for the gram. So again, I completely agree with the substance over manner, right, or form. But can't you have both of them at the same time? Because especially from a business tourism standpoint, right? Because if you have Michelin star, it makes your place, your city, a bigger draw, right? Can you tell me something about? I mean, what's your take on this issue?
No, but you're correct. So I was about to say earlier that you can strike that balance, right? You can have both. And this is not to say that those Michelin starred restaurants aren't good. They are really, really good at what they're doing. What was I saying earlier is the entire legitimacy thing,
Right.
which you can actually get from getting a Michelin star, but you can also get it from the community that you're in.
Right.
Diba? Diba, lagi nating sinasabi, paano mo malalaman kung masarap ang pagkain? Pumunta ka kung saan kumakain ang mga taxi driver or ang locals.
Right.
Diba? For example, here in the Philippines, how would you know if the Chinese restaurant is good? Kung saan pupunta yung mga inchik, right? So that's another that's another way to be legitimized, hindi ba? So there are different ways. And to answer the question, you can have both. The unity of form and content, tastes good, it's for the gram, sure. Teacher kasi ko, I'm a culinary instructor.
Exactly.
So,
Guys, I'm
so
wondering where.
medyo yung
Mm.
ini-instill ko muna sa mga estudyante, and I teach fundamentals. So, ang ini-instill ko muna, before we break the rules, we must know the rules, right?
Right,
So,
right.
you can go ahead and crazy with the dining experience that you want to provide by doing it multi-sensory with lights, with
Yeah,
sounds, with
maybe,
textures,
right.
flavors. Gawin mo muna ng tama yung paggawa mo ng souffle. Kumbaga, kung
Exactly.
gusto mong,
Sana
diba?
naman di lasang plastic yung niluto mo or something.
Ano, so, and
Yeah.
I'm all for that because it's experience. And you mentioned, you mentioned about culinary tourism.
Yeah.
That could bring people to your
Diplomacy.
city.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
gastro-diplomacy, for instance. Yeah.
Like for example, I'm very bad with names, but the chef in Bangkok,
Right, right.
Fao,
Yeah, I
who
know. I know who you're
the crab rolls.
Right, right.
See, her food is not so restrictive in pricing. Hence, it brings
Correct.
tourists
Correct,
to
correct.
Bangkok because it's not she's a one Michelin starred chef, but her pricing is not as
May pagka-street
restrictive
food
as
yung sa
others.
kanya, may pagka-street food-ish.
Yeah, as in siya,
Exactly, street
nasa
food.
tabing karsada siya.
Yeah.
Like Hawker Chan, diba?
Right.
Like Hawker Chan is also well, hawker, duh. So yun. So of course you can have both.
Is that what you're looking at in your case? Is that what you want more that type, the hawker Singaporean style, the Thai's street food style? Is that something that you feel more passionate about than the high cuisine and all of that Michelin star cottage industry? Because I can see you're very passionate about this. I may not cook pretty, but I cook delicious, right? And yet, ironically, of course, people will watch you not because they can taste what you're eating, because, well, it's on the screen, but because probably it also looks nice, right? That's why they're watching you, right?
Well, I think because it's procedural.
Aha, I see.
They get to learn the
step by
steps,
step, exactly, yeah.
the ingredients. There are tricks of the trade, yung mga patip natin na kung hindi nyo kailangang pantay-pantay naman ng, for example, ng garlic at tatadtarin mo din, gumamit ka na lang ng grater para mas madali. Yung mga ganon. Right? So,
exactly.
So, I think, but that's a very good observation, no? That how come you're saying that it's more of the taste than how it looks when your medium is very visual because it's
exactly, and you get millions of views for your videos. Obviously, it's not just masarap kasi hindi naman nila malasahan. Yes. So it looks nice. It looks tasty. There's something about the visuals, the aesthetics, no?
I think it looks decent, and yun nga, I think
not posh, but decent, yeah.
Not bougie.
Yeah, exactly.
Not bougie. But I think it's more of because they learn. At andun ako passionate. Alam mo, I always say this na iba-iba ng niche ang content creators, iba-iba ng niche yung mga naglalabas ng videos. Ako, para sa akin, hindi ako gagawa ng video at ipapakitang gilas ko yung lahat ng galing ko. Tas ang ending, hindi naman kayang gayahin ng isang nanay sa bahay niya.
Parang parang nag-flex ka lang doon, parang gano'n.
Correct. Na parang anong point? Nag-flex lang ako na, shucks, I can do, I don't know, some chiffonade. I chiffonade everything. Na pagdating sa bahay yung nanay, ang tanong lang naman niya, anong dinner namin bukas kasi naubusan ako ng recipe. So yun, doon ako, o kaya ano yung pwede kong ipang negosyo para ma-augment yung one family income namin. Ay, one person income namin as a family.
Single income.
So, like for example, I just published a video on lumpiang sariwa. Has now around 140,000 views on TikTok. And then there was one comment talaga na tuwa ako. Sabi niya, Chef, thank you po kasi pwede ko pong ibenta. para
Yeah, exactly.
tuwing off po ko po
Yeah,
makakapag-sideline
okay,
ako.
okay.
And
I
that
see
gives me
what you're
the
saying.
most joy, like the
Yeah, you're
most,
right.
more than anything, because that's a family that you were able to
To
help,
help. Yeah,
na
like
baka yung last 500 nila, yun ang ipangpuhunan nila, tapos eventually hindi na sila
tama. Good
nakukulang
point.
ng pera.
Correct.
So that's what I'm passionate about. Yun.
So you're a
That's
hustler.
why I put out
Huh.
videos.
So you're kind of a hustler. You're like teaching people how to, with some very basic ingredients and training, they can actually make a whole business, right? To become more entrepreneurial. I mean it in a good way, no? So may pagka-populist ka rin pala. By the way, populism is not a bad thing per se. It's like populism, something that is relatable by the majority of folks, right?
Because Richard, I know my privilege. I
Right.
am very much aware of the privilege that I have,
Yeah.
continue having, and that I had. And
Right.
by the way, I'm going to be celebrating my second anniversary as a content creator
Oh yeah,
this February.
which is my transition. Perfect segue. Yeah. So how
And
did it start? This
hold on. Before you
yeah.
say anything, I will be giving out something
Uh-huh.
to the followers that hopefully that whoever's gonna get it would somehow change the course of his or her life.
Wow. Sige, follower din ako. Yeah, that's great.